Hi guys, welcome back to WD18, the Watford fan channel, for some breaking news coming out of Watford and Marco Silva's Everton. They're on the verge of completing a £50 million deal for Watford's Richarlison. This was released just this afternoon around 5ish, 4ish, and it's just come out of the blue really. I did not expect this at all. I knew Richarlison was going to be linked this summer. I knew he was someone who was touted highly by a number of clubs, but I wouldn't have thought it was Everton of all clubs that would actually manage to take him away from Watford. There are reports that this is fake, and if people are saying it's not true that £50 million is being made up in thin air, but actually there's a number of reports now, BBC, Sky Sports, pretty much every tabloid and media outlet are reporting this, so there's definitely some substance to it. I do think the £50 million deal and fee is, some of it is going to be compensation for Marco Silva. There was a bit of a fiasco with Watford and Everton, where Watford were complaining that Everton tried to take away Marco Silva unlawfully and that they had to pay compensation. I wouldn't be surprised if part of that £50 million fee was a little bit of compensation, but even still, it's a massive price tag for Richarlison, someone who hasn't really contributed to a lot to Watford in recent games, last season anyway. But the last time he scored was in November against West Ham. 5 goals, 4 assists, I believe. Hasn't really done a lot, especially in the back end of last season. It was clear and it was well documented that Richarlison didn't really get on with Javi Gracia, and he really liked Marco Silva. And I would, if I was in Richarlison's shoes, I'd love to play with Marco Silva again. He got the best out of him. But at the same time, Everton, is it the right move for him? It's clear that Marco Silva's been a huge factor. If Marco Silva is still at Watford now, he wouldn't be leaving. So Marco Silva is the defining factor in this deal. Do I think it's the right move for Richarlison? I'm not too sure. I think from a Watford point of view and a fan, I've said it on my tweets, that I think it's a fantastic deal, and I think we've actually, well, it's a steal really. £50 million for Richarlison, someone who, I mean, Mahrez is going for 60-odd million. We're getting 50 million for Richarlison. That is fantastic business from Gino and Duxbury. They've really pulled it out of the bag, but at the same time, a little bit frustrated because I think Richarlison, we didn't get to see the best of him over a season. I would have liked to have seen him again in a Watford shirt, giving it a right go. It's pretty much complete the deal. He's agreed personal terms. It's basically got to sign on the dotted line and have his medical completed. So he'll be flying back from Austria from the pre-season training camp, where he's been putting on Instagram and tweeting. You wouldn't have thought that he was leaving the way he's been posting, but he is going to be flying back to London and then up to Liverpool, where he'll complete a medical with Everton. £50 million is the deal agreed. As I said, I wouldn't be surprised if a little bit of part of that package is, of course, add-ons. So it might be around 40 million, but then add-ons and maybe some Marco Silva compensation is part of that. But overall, I mean, I'm not really going to complain in terms of the £50 million that I'd bite your hand off. Little old Watford getting a player for 11.5 and selling him on for 50. It is fantastic business, and the fact we've managed to do that within a season, it's normally a couple of seasons for a player to prove themselves, but it just screams a panic buy from Marco Silva. They've been linked with Malcolm, the winger from Bordeaux, but that deal seems to have fallen through. And Richarlison's been, well, it wasn't really linked before today, but the Daily Mail reported it. The Mail Sport, their sports section, and then since then it's just gathered pace and it's now absolutely everywhere. Sky Sports have said they're in advanced talks. Watford Observer, Anthony Matthews, the senior correspondent, has a source and has said that the deal is going ahead. And I don't know. I'm very happy with £50 million, but in the back of my mind, a little bit frustrated that we didn't get to see the best of Richarlison in next season. But would we see the best of him? The fact is, although Richarlison is going to leave, it's pretty much certain. I think if you look at the backup, we've got Isaac's success, and if he can have a full season and produce, that would be great. You've also got Ken Sema, who's coming from Östersund. He looks like a decent player. And Roberto Pereira, if we keep him and not let him go to Torino, towards the back end of last season, he was absolutely fantastic, cutting on onto his right foot. He was really good against, I remember the 2 games was against Burnley, Bournemouth as well. He was fantastic. And I think if Roberto Pereira can hit that form over and sustain it over a season, then I don't really see Richarlison being a massive factor and a massive problem. I think there's definitely talent in the squad. It was just whether, I mean, we would have actually probably had 2 more players. We do need to ship players on, but I wouldn't have thought it was Richarlison. Let's have a little look at the comment section. Let's see what people are playing. People are putting. We've got so it's fake. It's not fake. I thought it was initially, but it's not. We better not sell to Silva now. Jacob, how do you know? It's just according to reports. Money is good, definitely, but don't agree selling him to a rival. Yeah, I think that's a valid point. We said overall that Watford weren't going to sell to Everton on any terms, but in fact we are. Maybe it's a little bit of a decoy from everyone at Watford, but I think definitely, I don't think the intention was to sell to Everton. I think overall we've done it because £50 million, you can't really turn it down for a player like Richarlison. And will we get to see the best out of him under Gracia? We didn't. So the Pozzos are probably thinking, well, we've got a £50 million offer on the table. Do we want to sell? Probably. He didn't hit the form like he did under Marco Silva. And is he going to add anything next season? £50 million, I don't think you can turn that down. I think it's the right deal. Sky has said shit. Marco Silva is not a beast. 38 million profit, exactly, Luke. It's fantastic business. Yeah, Everton advanced talks. It would be the record for the Pozzos. I feel like 50 million coming in, we're going to buy a variety of players. Yeah, that's another really good point, Hanyon. I think Watford's are going to get £50 million. Now, that is a lot for a club like Watford, a mid-table looking top half club. That can be invested elsewhere. We need a top quality striker. We've said that for a while now. The likes of Andre Gray, I know Andre Gray's come out and said he wants to score more goals than he did last season. That's his objective. We have to buy another striker. We can't just rely on Andre Gray, Troy Deeney. Akaka looks to be off as well. And Jerome St Clair. There has to be a buy. We have to have a striker. Otherwise, it could be a really worrying season. And I'm starting to worry as it gets nearer to the deadline, if we don't get a striker, that will be a worry for most Watford fans. And maybe even another centre-back. Elfie Mawson's been linked. There's other centre-backs that have been linked. Obviously, we've got in Mark Navarro. We've got in Wilmot. But maybe just a big name. We've got the likes of Cabasele and Cathcart, which is a fantastic partnership. But we haven't got a lot of depth. I mean, Miguel Brito, Sebastian Prodel, they're all ageing. So if we could bring in another centre-half, that would be fantastic with the money. It looks to be almost complete. And yeah, basically just strengthen the squad as a whole. Even in January, if we need to make some emergency signings, the £50 million goes a long way for a club like Watford. And on the surface, it may look like to the big clubs, well, on the surface of the big clubs, they're probably thinking of how they're paying £50 million for him. But that's not as a big a deal to someone like, well, just the top 4 and top 6 clubs, but to someone like Watford and even Leicester when they sold Mahrez, that money can be used elsewhere. And I think Watford, £50 million, you can't really complain for Richarlison, someone who hasn't really contributed, scored or played well since November, December. And yeah, I think it's a good deal for Watford. It just screams, as I said, a panic buy from Marco Silva. I don't think it's the best business personally. I think there are other targets they could have looked at for definitely a cheaper price. But maybe it was part of the plan. I'm not too sure. I think we're going to find out a lot more about it over the coming days. I expect it. Well, I rumoured and kind of what I've been reading, I wouldn't be surprised if it was announced today or, tomorrow and on Sunday. It's progressed really, really quickly from this afternoon. They've agreed a deal, personal terms, and now he's off for a medical and just to sign on the contract. So it's about 90% done, 85% done. And it looks like Richarlison's off to Everton. Overall, his time at Watford, I think he was someone who frustrated the fans a lot at times, especially towards the back end of last season. But at the start, he was in form, he worked hard, and I can't really fault him. But if he doesn't want to be at Watford, then that's not really our problem. And £50 million, I think, for someone who, if he doesn't want to be at the club, then let him go. It'd be a bit of a shame if he wanted to stay. But as I said, great business from Watford, £50 million. We bought him from 11.5 Fluminense. From what I've gathered, it's going to be 3.8 million are going to go to Fluminense. They had a part of Richarlison's contract when he signed for Watford is that Fluminense get 10% of any deal after he signs. So if he as he goes to Everton, he gets Fluminense get 3.8 million, So yeah, overall great deal for both Luminese and Watford. Let me know what you think of the deal down in the comment section below. Normally with these sorts of breaking news, I'll do it as a live stream because it's just a little bit easier and a bit more instant. Otherwise I have to edit it and then get it up. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you make of the Richarlison deal. It looks to be almost complete and should be announced in the coming days. And yeah, I was going to do a video on the new green away kit, which is really, really nice, I think. But I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow, so I had to postpone it due to the Richarlison news. So that will be coming out for you tomorrow. I'll probably buy it and maybe do a kit review. If you'd like me to do a kit review on this shirt, I absolutely love this one as well. So if you want me to do a review on this kit, then let me know down in the comment section below as well. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to WD18. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.